Good morning from MWC25. I'm here together with Jerry Collins, Director of Product Management at Intelsat. Good morning, Jerry. How are you?
Morning, Akeem. I'm pretty good. It's an exciting show, and it's every year what we do becomes more and more relevant to what's going on here.
That's good.
I could have come here maybe 10 years ago, and nobody was talking about satellite and non-terrestrial networks. Now we feel as though we're almost the center of the show.
It's almost bigger than AI.
Well, that's maybe an exaggeration, but I think we're number two. We're up there.
Is it almost?
Almost. Yeah. You're right. We're up there. Yeah. No, so it's super exciting.
Great. What are you showcasing this year at MWC?
So the big things that for us are important, and we really want to explain the value to our customers are, first of all, multi-orbit. Our view of the world is it's people in a couple of years' time, people won't talk about LEO or GEO or something. They'll just talk about a space terminal, because that space terminal will allow you to get access to whatever space or satellite you need, whether it's low or whether it's high or whether it's in the middle. So that multi-orbit vision is really kind of unique for us and very important. And then the second big thing is that we're moving into the 5G world. So the satellite is actually going to follow the 5G standards. And that's something we've been working on for a long time, and we feel now we're within reach of delivering it. So the multi-orbit future and the 5G future is really what people are talking to us about here.
Great. So it sounds very exciting, to be honest.
It is.
A year ago, we talked about satellite terrestrial convergence. And how has this evolved, and what role is Intelsat playing in driving industry standards?
Okay, so standards are really important, and we've been working on the standards for a number of years. The key thing for us has been just this past 12 months, so it's really since last year, is that the key satellite frequency band that we use, which is called the KU band, lots of frequency, lots of capacity up there. We've brought that into the 3GPP, so the terrestrial world, and said, we're going to deploy the 5G technology into that frequency band via our satellites. And the standards world, the 3GPP have said, yeah, that's great. We're going to put that in the standards, and that is what's called now the Release 19, and we're working on that. So that's really good from the standards point of view, so we're getting industry kind of agreement to do that. And the second big thing is that some of the big customers have said, we like what you're doing, we want to be part of it. So just a couple of months back, we announced an agreement to work together with SoftBank in Japan, because they said, well, we're really interested in vehicular mobility, and if we could have vehicles that could be 5G enabled, but when they move from the terrestrial cellular network, when they move outside that network, they can connect non-terrestrially via satellite using the same 5G technology. That's a vision they bought into.
So we're actually seamless connectivity.
Seamless. Well, they call it the ubiquitous network, and I guess we've kind of adopted that technology as well, or that terminology. And so we're working with them so that we would connect our 5G network with their 5G network, so that roaming becomes possible. So it's great to get the buy-in from a customer.
So that's more like the goal is to have a standardized 5G ecosystem.
Absolutely. An ecosystem is a very big, important word for us. And certainly in an event like this, we're talking to a lot of people who are starting to move and get interested in saying, how can I build a device that's going to work on this sort of similar to the stuff that would have gone on 5G terrestrial a number of years ago. We're starting to see lots of companies. We've seen announcements just in the last couple of weeks about people making silicon solutions that would go into terminals. So you're right, it's the ecosystem that's important, and we're seeing a lot of progress.
We earlier talked about the multi-orbit expansion. We talked about also 5G, and we see as well there's quite a strong shift towards software-based solutions in the market. So how is Intelsat's vision of a next-gen 5G NTN network affecting, let's say, your goals?
Our vision is really to transform the satellite world from a world which has been very hardware focused and also very proprietary focused. My terminal only works with my network system, and you have to deploy it on this hardware. The fact that we can, from everywhere up from space, that we can control what coverage and how much coverage we give and how much throughput we give, control that through software, all the way down to the ground system, that we can change the functions and what's supported in the ground system through software, and then the terminal that the end user uses, that we can also change its functionality through software. It's a very, very different model, and it's enabling a much more flexible delivery of our services all the way from space down to the end terminal.
In current times, partnerships are more important than ever. We see that in many industries, many layers. So how is Intelsat collaborating with this, let's say, several partners you have, from MNOs over chipset companies up to other stakeholders, to build such like a fully integrated ecosystem?
So I'd say there's really kind of two dimensions to it for us, and clearly we can't do it all ourselves.
Yeah.
We'd like to do it ourselves, but no, we really kind of much prefer working with our partners. So on the space side, very important to have the right partners. So we've got a great partnership with Intelsat OneWeb, and we have signed a major agreement with them to distribute the LEO network services globally. So that's already great. That allows us to really make significant steps in this multi-orbit strategy. But then the other end is, okay, so that's kind of the supply. But when we look out at the market, for us, we want to distribute our products through the mobile operators. This is our go-to-market. The mobile operator is the center of our go-to-market. We don't want to jump to the end customer. We don't want to go over the top. We want to distribute our products. We want to connect their cell towers. We want to connect their devices. We want to connect their vehicles. We want to distribute into the enterprise via them. So those partnerships with the mobile operators is how we want to go to the market. So yeah, partnerships, it's all about.
So acceleration only works through partnerships?
Acceleration, just access to the market, growing our scale, and that's why it's important to come here and explain what our vision is, and really tell people, come on this journey with us, do this 5G NTN, do this multi-orbit future, because it's going to be an exciting journey. It is an exciting journey already.
Yeah, I feel it. Looking ahead, what is next for Intelsat in advancing 5G NTN and further integration satellite into terrestrial networks?
So the key thing, I guess, for us at the moment is, as I said earlier, we're working on the standard side. So roughly at the end of this year, kind of second half of the year, we'll complete that standard. That will allow us to kind of fix what the technology roadmap is, and then start as we go through 2026 and 2027, start to bring those early market solutions, those early terminals that we can show to customers like SoftBank, that we can do this roaming between the satellite and the non-satellite. And then, when the solutions really kind of become commercially available in 2027. So on that roadmap, they're the kind of key steps. Get that standard finished, get the early prototypes out, 26, and then we go commercial in 27 with that full NTN 5G vision.
At the beginning, we mentioned that the satellite became now such a big topic again at MWC. So if you look at the African continent, how do you see the importance of satellite technology and connectivity to overcome our digital divide, our digital inclusion challenges?
Okay, so I guess I look at developments of satellite and non-terrestrial in Africa in a different way, and I always have, because I always think that it's the one area in that the use cases, the innovation in the use cases, often comes from Africa. Satellite generally does really well where there is, maybe lower levels of infrastructure, where there is a greater non-urban population. That's the reality of Africa, and that's the difference. But often the problems when we come to developed markets is, well, we actually want to cover the rural populations. We want to have that inclusivity, that universal service. But these are problems that Africa has been working on for many, many years. So many of the solutions that we will come with will probably be deployed in Africa first. So I really believe that the 5G NTN and this roaming and this extension, because ultimately what we're talking about is a non-terrestrial network, which is an extension to the terrestrial network, that actually Africa could be one of those countries who would adopt that technology first. Because, in many of those areas, you don't have that capability, and 5G will struggle to get beyond the urban areas. But if you've got a satellite-enabled device that is also terrestrial, and as you move out, you can use that technology. Obviously, what's really, really key is scale, and Africa also offers a lot of scale. So, chipset manufacturers, and how you integrate those into lower cost units. A lot of that can be driven from Africa, because we've seen that in the terminal for the terrestrial ecosystem, how Africa's been able to drive that volume and that scale and those cost points. That's also going to be key for this 5G NTN as well. So it's, as always, for our business, Africa is extremely important.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks
Thank you,
for your
Hakeem.
time.
Always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was TechAfrica News from MWC 2025. You can find more on techafricanews.com.